This is how we ride. This is how we do.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and man, just got back from Eagle, wearing my new, I'm actually from here shirt, license plate shirt. Personally, do not like or have noticed that it's not very cool to have an Iowa license plate, but it was very nice to have a Texas plate, so I tried to replace or give people some wherewithal. Might do it for every state. I'm actually from here. Could be the PA. Could do them all around. But regardless, and I do want to start this off by saying a big shout out to Fulkins Brothers Trucking. And Steve Fulkins over there, had an amazing conversation with him in the pitting area with some of the things that I think as well. And great guy. I'm only wearing this Kyle Larson hat because, hey, if that guy's going to put his name on the wing of the 57, I mean, hey, I'll put Kyle Larson's name on the wing of the Chaz. But at the end of the day, Eagle Raceway last night, if High Limit needed to bounce back from the Tri-City situation or anything like that, they did an amazing job in doing so. And I don't know who didn't see it coming. I mean, Eagle Raceway is a 410 sprint car track. You go look at the World of Outlaws schedule and its history. It's littered with Eagle Raceway visits. This was a great race, great event. Brad Sweet, who I personally feel bad for because the guy is overworked, unbelievable. I can only imagine the stress and the hate and the anguish he's getting from all levels. The mistake at Tri-City that he kind of wasn't even involved in. He's getting hated for that. He's getting hated for doing this high limit deal. He's killing himself to perform on the racetrack, and maybe that suffered a little bit this year because of all this that he's killing himself to do, the high limit sprint cars. There's a lot of things to be sympathetic for in this scenario, and an event like you had at Eagle last night is kind of the big trophy at the end of the race for a Brad Sweet who's trying to do all these things. But a lot of people are calling it the Kyle Larson series. Saw a tweet last night. They might as well just call it the Kyle Larson series. And you saw the first reply say, oh, he's got the Outlaws, the All-Stars, the best of the best there, and he's beating them. It ain't just the Kyle Larson series. He's beating everybody. And I mean, I think if you throw 5 or 6 more of the premier racers of the World of Outlaws in there, it's a little bit different of a race. It's a hard race. It probably might still be a race for the lead. Rico's one of the best race car drivers out there in the world right now. He's kicking Outlaw's ass, so he's outlaw level. Kyle Larson's outlaw level, and that's why they're running 1-2. Buddy Coforth, if he was in the 11 car, there may be a little bit of a different situation, but the 71 Indy Race Parts car is definitely a top-notch race car in itself as well. So, I mean, yeah, he isn't necessarily racing gravel and shots and Sheldon and Macedo, but he is doing something pretty tough there. Now, once again, you add 5 or 6 of those World of Outlaw guys into these high-limit fields every time they race, not just at Lakeside, and I think it does become a little bit more difficult. Of course, Giovanni Scelzi and Robbie Price attended last night. Giovanni Scelzi, he's really good, but I'm just not putting him in that gravel Macedo sweet category just yet. To me, just right now, as I see it, Gio is not in that. The big 3 of the World of Outlaws is what I would consider right now would be Macedo, gravel, and sweet. That's as far as the racing goes. Now, what I'm about to say here may hurt some feelings and may confuse some people, but I'm telling you right now, I've done a lot of damn research, and I've been in a lot of positions in this racing world to come at this with some pretty damn good knowledge, and not just in the racing world, but I've studied a lot of media. I've studied a lot on how people tend to gather for things, icons, all of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I saw a lot of pictures last night. Of course, all these fans, 80% of them are wearing Kyle Larson merchandise. I did my live saying it's pretty sad that Kyle Larson's t-shirt trailer is full of people. And the World of Outlaw champion and Rico even and Tyler Courtney's and Brady Bacon's, they got 4 or 5 people were empty. In my live video that I did, Brad Sweet's trailer's empty. No one's there. Let me help you understand something. So this was my first experience before I developed any of these ideologies that I have today. And honestly, up until about 2016, after Brian Clausen died, I was one of you people too. So there was a big ASCS race at the Lawton Speedway. Tony Stewart's going to be there. And I get there at 4:30. And I'm having to park about a quarter mile away from the facility on the side of the damn road. There are so many people there to see this race. And I couldn't believe it. I got there at 4:30. I finally get to the facility at about 5, and I'm having to sit on the bottom row of the grandstands 2 hours prior to the green flag even waving. And it's pretty obvious that everyone is there to see Tony Stewart. So the racing night goes. Tony Stewart, I believe, got a provisional or maybe made it through the B. He's doing subpar. Meanwhile, there's a 3, 4, 5 car contention battle for the lead. They're throwing sliders 3 wide. Amazing racing at the Lawton Speedway. They come up to Stewart. They lap him. They're dicing through traffic. There's like 5 to go. Who's going to get it done? I think it was like Danny Wood at that time, Sam Haverteep, Aaron Reitzel, something like that. They're going at it, 5 to go. Tony Stewart pulls off the track off of 2 and goes to the pitting area. We're still green, by the way. 3-car battle for the lead, slicing and a dicing. So and with the green flag waving, with 4 laps to go at that point, all of a sudden, the stands gone. Soon as he pulled off, droves coming out. I had to stand up to be able to watch the final 3 laps of this amazing race between these amazing drivers, because Tony Stewart had pulled off, and the fans are only there to watch one guy. And so when this happened to me, I sat there and I said, what just happened? And I'm in media at the time. I'm in marketing. I see how herds get moved with screens. Ideologies are formed. People follow one side, follow the other. Vote this, vote that. I'm seeing how everybody's getting used. And I'm like, okay, I don't really want to dabble in that world, but what's happening in this one? I obviously at that point had evidence that there was only one person that the people of the world viewed as worth their money to see, to cheer for, to watch, or at the end of the day, to respect. This race that was happening, they're not race fans, they're Tony Stewart fans. This race that was occurring at the front that didn't have to do with Tony Stewart was badass. It was racing. It was going. But it wasn't the star. And so that instance occurred. And then later that I started looking into, okay, well, why is this one guy bigger? Okay, he's in NASCAR. Okay, they've done media. But why is the dirt people so in with the same plan? Why is NASCAR where it is today? What happened? How did they build to that? I'm looking at the history of the sport. I'm seeing Kinzer and Petty on the same plateau. I'm seeing sprint cars on ABC. I'm watching Kinzer win 50K while Dale Sr.'s winning 47. How did we get here? What happened? Why did the respect or the awareness of the dirt track world just go into the gutters? And I've done some research, and I saw how every so often, when NASCAR blew up with Rowdy versus Cole or Jeff Gordon versus Dale Sr. at the same time the IndyCar scene was being split, that the icon of sprint car racing changed. See, late model racing never had this occur. That's why I said in my live video last night, Eagle, you could put Kyle Larson's trailer next to Jonathan Davenport and Jimmy Owens and Chris Madden, and it ain't going to be so lopsided, because the icon of their industry is not a Cole Trickle. Their biggest star wasn't replaced in the 90s. We have modern day Steve Kinzers and Sammy Swindell's racing right now that don't get that iconic role because the sprint car star was utilized to build NASCAR up. And you got to understand how this has been used to relegate the difficulty of a sprint car or short track racer. I was talking to Matt Dillner last night about this. As a high school level athlete, because regular society is viewing those who go from dirt racing to NASCAR as graduating, moving up to a higher level of competition, therefore deserving more respect, flag football to NFL type of things here. That's why I think it is so important that we point out when Kyle Larson does get beat, and also when he's doing the damage he's doing to the high limit sprint car series, that, hey guys, there are some other drivers out here that can beat his ass. But I also think that it's very important for some people to realize that this necessarily isn't a good thing, that one car is bombarded with all of the fans. And if that one car is not there, you're not going to have any fans. Logistically, do you think the Eagle Raceway could have done a one-off 410 sprint car event and had the crowd that they had right there? It would have had to be involved with Kyle Larson. Now, is that fair? Is that logistical? To some people out there, it is. Kyle Larson's the greatest of all time, will never be better. No one could ever do what he does. Although no one in the world out there, outside of, I guess, Tony Stewart, has ever even got the opportunities to do what he does. And racing is an opportunity-based sport. There could be 100 Kyle Larsons out there. Thousands of Kyle Larsons out there. Not just in dirt track racing, but short track asphalt racing as well. But racing's an opportunity-based sport. Nepotism runs the game, mixed in with a little bit of money. At the end of the day, it is good that Eagle Raceway had this happen. It is good that fans are coming to the track to watch dirt track racing. And I honestly believe that Kyle himself wants these other guys to get some glamour and attention. I talked to him. I was there at Silver Trailer and right there with Rico and talking with Folkens all night. I'm sure he would love for those thousands of people that are keeping him there till 1:30, 2 a.m. in the morning to disperse to some other drivers. I'm sure he would love that shit. Guys, I'm sure Caitlin would love it that other guys and their girlfriends can shotgun some beers and just get as much peer pressure as she does to do it. I'm sure they would love that shit. And there's reasons that's not happening. So some people were mad at my live last night, and that's why I'm talking about this and saying it's messed up that Larson's trailer's lined out and our modern day Kinsers and Swindells and Hodenschild, we're still living on a Hodenschild name for some fans, aren't getting respect, aren't getting the attention that they deserve. They are F1 level talents, F1 level ability. They may not have got F1 opportunity, and hell, Kyle Larson hasn't and probably won't after I talked with his dad last night because of how the structure has been set up to keep certain groups in elitist positions. But I just think it is quintessential for some of these sprint car fans who love dirt track racing to explain to people when they are there that, hey, Kyle Larson is great, Kyle Larson is good, but he also had a lot of opportunities that this guy over here did not. And this guy over here could be just as grand as Kyle Larson. There's a lot of drivers, especially in the fendered world, although y'all don't have this dilemma or psychological manipulative issue, but we do in the sprint car world. They won't even take a damn 4 because some of the drivers believe in it. And maybe some of them have been beaten into submission. This is what they have lived and grown up in, and no one's ever tried to say anything against it or change it. And it just is what it is. And that's what happens when things become the new norm. And if you say something about it, then you're just a hater. If I explain it to you and how it isn't necessarily good for the overall situation, I hate Kyle Larson. I don't hate Kyle Larson. I hate the system within that has created Kyle Larson's. So anyways, I just thought I should explain myself just a little bit more so that people can understand the effect, the trickle-down effect of this entire situation on the sport. And it doesn't just affect sprint car racing, this emulation that all these sprint car guys are just the ones who weren't good enough to get where he's at, and the ones who are up there are obviously so much better. We all remember when I was talking in 2019 and 2020 about how great these sprint car guys are before Kyle Larson came back, and there were NASCAR fans saying that Chase Elliott could lap the Knoxville Nationals A-Main. This is what people think. This is the ideology, the infection involved. And the people surrounding that trailer like they were more than likely think the same damn way. Because if they viewed any of those other drivers as a Chase Elliott, would they literally just walk right by them? And maybe sprint car racing is a little bit more mainstream and more aware in society because of the Tony Stewarts, the Kyle Larsons, the Jeff Gordon, even though he kind of ignored it, Casey Kane. Maybe it does matter. It has helped in some ways. But as I said in my video, it's technically NASCAR welfare because now the sprint car industry believes that the only way that they're going to get awareness, attention, or fans at the racetrack is to send a young star to NASCAR so that they can promote him into one, and then we can live off of the fruits of their labor. I think Earl Baltus understands the battle that I'm talking about because the race in this world of racing isn't always against the drivers on the track. It's against the promoters of not only just tracks, but also divisions and organizations of the motorsports world in its entirety. And some people have lost sight on that battle and exchanged that battle for assistance and handouts and welfare, instead of just going out here and promoting them yourself. Hell, it's a damn good thing that Dana White and UFC didn't rely on boxers coming to the UFC to sell tickets. They came out and said that they had the best damn fighters in the world, and you can't come over here and kick our ass. That's what we need to be promoting dirt racing as, in my opinion. We are a different discipline than your little concrete Queen Sunday party you got over there. And there ain't nobody who could jump in our discipline and kick our ass, except for Kyle Larson, that you come and bring from our world to take over there. And when y'all beat them on Sunday, y'all can say that your Sunday drivers are better than all of ours, because we're down here in the flag football division of where he came from. Since you beat the UFC guy in a boxing ring, all your boxers can beat every UFC guy there is. That sounds insane, but that's kind of the situation that plays out. But mass manipulation and labeling groups of people based on ideologies and some extreme examples is utilized all the time, not just in racing, also across the world in politics and religion and every form of facet of life. Anyways, leave a comment below with what you think. It's a very interesting conversation that I think needs to be had and publicized a little bit more so that we can disperse that crowd throughout the pitting area and not just at the 9 of Casey Kane and the 57 of Kyle Larson. I think we need to understand why those lines are so long and why the lines of everyone else are so little. That's what I'm talking about. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe once again and maybe join the membership on the channel. I think it's like $3 a month. Or you can pick a little bit more expensive membership. Definitely goes a long way. It'll help me do some more of these talk videos. We do have some more films coming out. Stuff with the Brandon O'Banion team. We got a Chase Randall film coming out next. Husich, some shop talk down there in Knoxville with the Beaver special or whatever they want to call that 12X machine. Really good stuff coming here on the Chaz, and we want you to be able to see it. So be sure to subscribe. Make sure those notifications are on. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Share this all over your socials, and we will catch you next time.
This is how we ride. This is how we